What's up, my fellow small business supporters? I'm Savvy, and today I want to talk about doing some positivity on AuthorTube. So today I'm going to be doing the AuthorTube Appreciation Tag. Thank you to A.S. Howell for tagging me in the AuthorTube Appreciation Tag. I love that this tag is spreading positivity. Here we go, I'm really excited for this. What are you best at in your writing life? So I think the writing thing I'm best at is voice. I love developing different voices for different characters. I love doing different first-person perspectives. I love taking a stream of consciousness kind of approach. And I think that I've gotten really good at that over the years. While I might still, struggle a little bit with world building or with setting description, I think I've always got the voice part down so I know when to play to my strengths and I know which parts I need to work on. What's your favorite scene in your current work in progress and why are you proud of it? The question also specifies that you can read some of it, so that's what I'm gonna do. So my current work in progress is called 90s Kids. I'm in the process of finishing up my final revisions on that right now. I'm gonna read the beginning of chapter 17. I'm standing in a cheap motel room with the police banging on my door 4 months before I'm even supposed to be born, with my anachronism of a blue laptop on full display right after a random girl just fell out of the ceiling, and the only thing I can think is, she's cute. It takes me a second to remember that I need to actually put away said laptop before this girl suddenly exposes me as some kind of weirdo from the future. I dart toward the dresser and shove Lappy back into my backpack. I swing my backpack over my shoulder and bolt for the window, which I haven't yet opened. Before I can even reach the window latch, the girl shouts, "Wait, I'm from the future too." So that's the scene where, the two main characters I do alternating first-person perspective for them, that's the scene where they finally meet each other. And I just kind of liked the way I started off that chapter. I had a lot of fun with it. What is your favorite thing you've ever written and why? While on this channel I talk a lot about my process of writing novels and writing young adult and new adult literature, my favorite thing I've ever written is actually Smile Chewie, which is one of the picture books in my Forever Home Friends series. I guess I'm partially biased because this is the book that I wrote based on my own dog, so Chewie is my baby. I'm sure you guys have seen him in some of my videos, but I'm just really proud of the way that in this book I managed to deal with a lot of different really serious issues in child-friendly ways. The main issue in this book is body positivity, with Chewie having some scars on his face, having to learn to have confidence in himself. So that was the main issue that it dealt with, but it also dealt with animal abuse in the sense that Chewie was abused and got those scars on his face. And I don't go too graphic into it, and I felt I did a good job showing that issue in a way that kids can understand without getting too scared. This book also dealt with prejudice in the sense that Chewie was discriminated against for being a pit bull, and so in that way it also kind of talks about the discrimination against pit bulls and that issue, and I felt like I was able to weave these together into one fairly simple, fairly straightforward narrative. That's why this is still the book that I'm most proud of. What is your ultimate dream for your writing future? I mean, I definitely have the standard dream of writing, I want to be my full-time job, I want my Forever Home Friends business and my novel writing and doing events as an author, speaking as an author, all of that type of stuff to eventually become my full-time work that I can make a complete living off of. But the other goal that kind of goes unsaid is I really want to start getting fan art. That's just a weird side goal that I'm if people started sending me fan art either over email or in the mail, I feel like I'd be just oh my god. And I actually did recently get my first piece of fan art, so I'm gonna give a shout out to A.S. Howell, who is the same person who tagged me in this tag, but she's actually also the first person to ever send me fan art, so this is so exciting. In the mail from her, I got this little origami heart that she did. It says Forever in Love, and it has two little dogs, and she made this based on Forever Home Friends, and I just absolutely love this. I was so excited. And then she sent me this little doggy creature too, and it's really cool because she makes them out of drafts, so printed out drafts of manuscripts that things are typed on, and she prints them out and she gives them colors and folds them, and she posts a lot of this art on Twitter as well. But it's so cool to see this, and when I got this in the mail along with a little letter from her talking about how she's glad we're AuthorTube friends, I was just so excited, and I was oh my god, so I started posting it all over social media. If you guys ever want to send me fan art, just let me know, and I would be the happiest person on earth. If there's ever a scene you wanted to draw or depict from Sculpt Yourself, or from any of the Forever Home Friends books, or from One Final Vinyl if you've read it for free on Swoon Reads. Any of that, you guys can send me stuff. Like, I would be so excited, and I'd give you a million shout-outs. Not that my platform's that big that I would like trade art for shit. Like, this isn't a transaction. I'm just saying that like it would make me really joyful. Name a time you stepped out of your comfort zone and tell us what you learned from it. When I wrote One Final Vinyl, I think that novel was kind of my first step outside of my comfort zone in trying to write a very introverted character. Me as a person, I'm very like open. Like, I just share my feelings when they pop into my head. Sometimes I have to struggle to have a filter and to hold myself back a little bit. And a lot of times I've written characters who have that struggle because that's the mindset that I know in like not being able to stop sharing your feelings. But I wanted to try writing from the perspective of a character who struggles to share her feelings, who struggles to, you know, make connections with other people and often keeps things to herself, and that's the problem she has. And so for me, that involved like getting into a completely separate mindset. There were a lot of free writes that I did of trying to just like slide my way into this character's mind. And it was definitely a challenge, but I was able to find that I actually, you know, had a lot of things in common with that mindset, even if it's different from like the extroverted approach that I usually take. I was able to find that, you know, we all have similar struggles in which emotions we choose to share and which we don't, and what makes us nervous in certain interactions and that kind of thing. So kind of trying to look at that from a different perspective and also use my own emotions of things that I felt to create that experience. I think it was definitely a step outside my comfort zone, but I'm really happy with how the novel turned out. It's actually free right now if you guys want to read it on Swoon Reads. There's a link in the description below. Share a positive writing memory. So when I was 16 years old...
Hello, darkness, my old
God, that was a decade ago. That was 10 whole years. We are sharing positive writing memories. When I was 16 years old, there was this like summer program that was like a completely government funded summer program that you could go to work on different things in the arts. So like you would apply, and if you got accepted, you got to go to like this essentially like artist retreat for 2 weeks. You don't have to pay for anything. And so there was music, there was theater and dance and all of that stuff. I got accepted in creative writing and it was amazing. So I spent 2 weeks there, meeting other writers, working on writing projects together. We often had these like writer sleepovers, so we were all high school kids and we were staying in these college dorms while we were there, and we would all gather together in the dorms, get out our laptops and get like highly caffeinated soda pop, and we would just drink that all night and get on sugar highs, eating tons of candy, and we'd just free write tons of stuff, and we'd share our ideas and we'd share our stories with each other, and it was like big writer sleepovers. Honestly, it was the most fun I think I've ever had. And now as an adult, like, I just want to recreate that so much. Like, I want to have writer sleepovers with friends, and I guess that's partially why I like vlogging some stuff for AuthorTube, because I can feel like I'm sharing my process with you guys now, and that's really fun. Read us one of your best or favorite reviews. So I will read a review from Sculpt Yourself. A lot of my favorite reviews from Sculpt Yourself were actually people who made booktube videos reviewing it, because I was so excited to see like other booktubers talking about my book. It made me really happy. I can link to some of those in the description below. My favorite written review on Goodreads came from someone who I think found it through Twitter. It says, "This book is literally everything that I want new adult to be. It hits that sweet spot right between young adult and women's fiction and presents an interesting speculative issue in a multifaceted way that is extremely relevant to some real issues in today's world. The book is told through the eyes of 3 characters, Amber, her sister Judy, and her eventual girlfriend Kelly. Each voice is unique and well realized. I'm not usually a fan of multiple first-person points of view because it gets hard to tell them apart, but here the author brings a unique voice to each of them, and even though they're all I on paper, I never got confused as to who was who. There are really 2 main storylines weaving in and out of each other throughout the book. The romance between Amber and Kelly, and the issue of Lipomorph, a fictional drug that lets women, or, well, people, but it's made clear in the book that the users are mostly women, shift their body fat around to other parts of their body. Okay, so it seems pretty medically impossible, but that speculative concept opens the door for an interesting examination of the fine line between personal satisfaction with your body image and the need or perceived need to make yourself look the way the world, aka men, expect. There was a huge potential for this to take an offensive turn, but I really feel that the author navigated all possibilities with a fair and accepting tone. We see a fat woman who's confident and who owns her size. We see a trans girl who uses the drug to show her true self to the world. We see overdoses and moderate users and users who stop, and there are interesting parallels drawn with drugs like caffeine, alcohol, and marijuana. How much is too much? Can anyone really make that decision completely for someone else? What we're left with is not an answer, except maybe the answer isn't always black and white. I feel like this book opens a discussion more than it concludes it, and in that sense it reads a lot like YA fiction. But this is more a topic for adults rather than teens, and in that sense this is exactly the kind of book that NA needs to become a full, multifaceted category. I found myself identifying with every single one of the characters, well, except some of Judy's bad dates. This book is woman positive, trans positive, age positive in both directions, fat positive, skinny positive, teen author positive, and so much else. I found myself highlighting so many lines and just nodding, oh yes, this is so right. In short, I loved this book and would pretty much recommend it to everyone. This is everything that new adult needs to be. I just about like cried when I read that review. This review actually came out like right before my launch party for this book, and I read this and I just was like so confident in going to my launch party and reading the book out loud after reading this review and being like, oh my god, this book is meaning something to people, and I was so excited. So I would say that is one of my favorite reviews that I've ever gotten. Give a shout out to 3 AuthorTubers you love and why. My first shout out is going to go to Christopher Drost. He is an AuthorTuber that I have been watching for a couple months now, and his videos are super informative, and he's just like a really friendly guy. He's always tagging people and things on Twitter and trying to get different Twitter discussions going about the writing world and about creativity. And he has this amazing series about different things to consider when you're writing transgender characters in your work, and I thought that that series was really informative and really helpful to a lot of writers. So I definitely recommend his channel, and Christopher, I'm tagging you in this as well. Another AuthorTuber I really like is Jasmine Shea Townsend. I was first drawn to her channel because there's always Animal Crossing music playing in the background, and Animal Crossing just makes me so happy all the time, so hearing the music is just like, I immediately feel at ease. So definitely check out her channel, and Jasmine, I'm tagging you in this as well. I can't wait to read your new book. And finally, I am tagging Clary Kavanaugh. I originally found her on Twitter, and then she joined AuthorTube shortly after I did, so it was cool. I was like, oh, I remember you from Twitter, this is awesome. But I just recently bought her book, and the cover is gorgeous, and the story sounds fascinating, so I'm interested in giving her book, I think it's a novella, so I'm interested in giving her new novella a read. Clary, I am tagging you in this video as well. Thank you so much to A.S. Howell for tagging me in this and for making me my first ever piece of fan art. You're amazing. I'm so glad we're friends here. If you liked this video, please remember to subscribe to the channel. If you like my Forever Home Friends books like Smile Chewie that I talked about today, please check out my Kickstarter, which is linked in the description below. I currently have pre-orders going for both these books and their stuffed animal counterparts. And the Kickstarter is only going until June 10th, so if you're interested in helping make the stuffed animal component of this business a reality, please check that out on Kickstarter and pre-order or share it with your friends. If you are interested in me as a novelist, I have Sculpt Yourself linked in the description below, and I also have the audiobook version linked in the description below. I would love it if you guys could check out the audiobook. My friend Jordan, who is a professional audiobook narrator, recorded it. We did a video a little while back talking about the process of recording an audiobook, and she did just a fabulous job, so definitely check that out if you got an Audible credit. Great way to spend it. Thank you for supporting your AuthorTubers out there. I will see you guys again soon, but in the meantime, don't forget to support small businesses. Bye!